But really and truly, all of us are on the brink of desperation. We're on the brink of living in these situations that we can't even imagine, the things that we're not really paying attention to because we're in our, for lack of a better term, our first world bubble, and we're not recognizing what's happening to the rest of the people like us outside of this first world bubble. And I think we're so comfortable with the scraps that we are given that we kind of like are nestled in mediocrity.
Greetings and welcome to
YAS Podcast, formerly known as
YAS Podcast.
This is our podcast, all of ours.
A podcast for all sex workers.
In this podcast, we will discuss the ins and outs, ups and downs of our lives and experiences as sex workers. I am your host, Daisy Ducati.
I am your Hopra, Gigi Holiday.
I'm your stripper queen from the north,
Onyx. I'm AM Davies, and this is YAS Podcast. We love doing this work, maintaining a platform for sex workers to tell their stories, entertaining and educating the public. If you love our podcast, please consider donating. We are now a 501c3, so your donations would be considered tax deductible. Go to yaswork.org/donate and easily send us some support to help keep this podcast going. That's yaswork.org/donate.
My name is Nats Honey, and I will be your host today on YAS Podcast. Thank you for being here with us. Really appreciate that. Before we get into today's episode, I wanted to remind you that YAS Podcast is produced by YAS Work, a nonprofit organization dedicated to changing public perception through media. If you love our podcast, please consider donating. Donations like yours keep this project going. Head to yaswork.org/donate and visit us, okay? Again, I'm Nats Honey. A little bit about me. Local to Los Angeles. Sex worker for many years. Over 20, I believe. And really, really excited to talk to today's guests. I can't express that enough. Our guest today is Akynos, the founder and director of the Black Sex Worker Collective. Hi, Akynos.
Hi, Nat. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
We can. I can hear you okay. I can see you okay. You look great. I'm really happy to see both of us on the screen. I always get really excited whenever I can see the both of us in the same room. It fills me with hope. So even though I might start sweating because it's hot as hell in LA at 10 o'clock in the morning, I am super dope.
Yeah.
Just excited to be here.
I'm excited to be here too. I'm a little sick, but I'm here. And I just came from a photo shoot, which is why I have so much makeup on for a project that I have to premiere next week in Berlin. But I'm here, but I might not have as much energy as I normally would because I don't feel so great, but I'm here. Thanks for having me again.
See, the great thing about you, Akynos, is your presence is all that is needed. You know, your energy levels can go from high to low. It doesn't matter. It's what's coming out of your mouth at any given point that we all need to pay attention to. So, yeah, you know,
let's see what comes out of my mouth.
Let's not go with today's topics just yet in the media. Let's start with the Black Sex Worker Collective. I would love to know when it was formed, why it was formed, and what that process was like for you.
So it was formed in 2018 in Brooklyn, New York, where I grew up. And we were formed under the actually, it was like the early stages for, I'd like to just say, for adults and adult industry professionals, code word. It was formed from that entire structured, the deplatforming, the beginning of the deplatforming phase and the discrimination of industry pros being in online spaces and conflating the work to the trafficking narrative. So this basically came out of the Sesta Fosta and the taking down the Caesar of Backpage.com. and just all that stuff that was happening during 2018 in American politics at that time. And at that time, when I decided to form the group, it had been at least a 3-year brainchild that I just, there were like many instances that were taking place over the course of those years that I was like, okay, this would be a good time to form it now. This would be a good time. So then this happened, particularly around Sesta Fosta. And I was like, okay, so we're really in trouble now. And at that point, there was no really black sex worker led groups, at least in New York. Like there were obviously black sex workers, but a space that was very specifically for us by us, to my knowledge, did not really exist. It at least was not in the regular framework, like within conversation, because a lot of the groups I was a part of, I was one of very few black sex workers, and they were always led by non-black sex workers, particularly black, non-black women. So anyway, that is how it was formed. And we had our very first like community meeting in a bar that I was working at in Brooklyn off Atlantic Avenue, where we had discussions about like different strategies and what to expect and just some history. And a lot of black sex workers just got together that day in Brooklyn, and that was pretty much how the group was formed. And we're still here. I don't know how many years, 7? I think we just celebrated 7 years. Is it only been 7? Yeah, I think it's 7 years.
Honestly, all I know is that it needed to exist.
Yeah.
I have danced the early 2000s and always wanted something like that, and it never existed. So the fact that you did it is making it happen, and making it happen, it soothes my spirit to know that there are workers that are coming up now that have a place to go to and a community that can tap into for resources and tools and all of the things that just make them better individuals all the way around. So I really, really thank you for that. One of the other things that I really, really love about everything the pronouns that you use. So if we can just if you would share your pronoun with everyone, that would be fair.
Yeah, so my pronouns are sex worker, king, the vagina, it, she, he, they, them. It's a lot of pronouns. I am, but usually if I have to put something down on like an application or something, I typically just go with sex worker. Friends call me king. People that know me just, call me king, because I'm always like,
Love that.
no, I'm not a queen, I'm a king. I'm a woman king. So usually sex worker or king, but it, the vagina, the whore, I like whore, yeah, the bitch, it's all of these, yeah. That like from my thesis for grad school, it's there. Those are all the pronouns that I go by: sex worker, king, it, she, the vagina, whore. Like I am open to all of them.
One of the things that I would really like to know, because I think maybe can help others that want to be in a place of leadership, I'd like to know some of the biggest challenges that you faced. And that can be either as an individual as you've been on this road, or that BSWC has faced. And your biggest wins. So, give us both of those.
I mean, I can complain all day about the biggest challenges. It's the biggest part of being an advocate. The biggest okay, so we all know the biggest challenge always is money. It's always like money, being taken seriously to get money. Because unfortunately, sex workers, particularly Black sex workers, still kind of like a pariah, and we're not, seen as, I guess, desperate enough, because this is a choice to be in this industry, and we could just be doing anything else. Be like, I don't know what. But we could be doing so much else, so we're not really a priority. So when it comes to getting funds, sometimes we're just getting money from the same like four hoes, just like, rotating the money that we might get into each other. It's like not often new money, and even if we do get funding, we're usually getting it from pretty much the same funders. So as like for the group, for instance, like the biggest challenge is like trying to get to the next level of funding, which is a monster if you're not keeping really tight records. So if you are gonna do this, when it comes to your financial records, really keep tight records, because if you're trying to get like 6-figure funding or federal funding or something like that, state funding, it requires that you have some goddamn good bookkeeping. The finances, keeping track of the finances is not my strong suit, but like we come from this really what do you call it? This total, for lack of a better term, fast money environment, like in terms of our work. So we might not all have the most strict bookkeeping mechanisms, but now is the time to develop those skills, because if you go into organizing, even if you're doing something grassroots, if you want to get to the next level, you're not going to be able to do it if your record keeping is not up to snuff. That's just the way it is. I don't make the rules. I'm just reporting it. All right. So funding is always an issue. And it's usually the same funders that are giving us money, or the same hoes that are just like, hey, let's just share it. So there's that. And the other challenge is, being Black, and you're not taken seriously when you are a Black woman. It's like, for me, no matter how much I have proven people wrong, it's still like, I still have to keep fighting to prove people like, I know I joke around a lot. I laugh and I joke, but I don't actually play. I'm a very serious person, but sometimes people don't realize that, because I have like a kind of a young kind of spirit that people just I don't think people take that seriously. And I don't know, maybe because I'm also really itty bitty short. And just, I don't seem threatening in that regard to people. So I don't fucking know, but it's just like, just not being taken seriously, whether it's funders or whether it's even the community. I think one of the main challenges is really getting the Black sex worker community to understand that, for me as a leader, I consider every Black sex worker a part of the BSWC. They just haven't come home to us yet. They haven't tapped in yet. But sometimes it's very difficult for them to be like, it's safe, you can come in and you can create, but this is fucking work. So even if people do come in, they also don't realize that this is actual work, I went to Goddard College, rest in peace to Goddard College. We created our own learning plan. Yeah, it was a distant learning school where we would go on campus on just like a week out of every semester. We would every 6 months we would go on campus and we'd meet the advisors that were going to be a part of that semester, and other students that are coming in from different parts of the world, different parts of the country, I should say. So that, I went to that school because that's kind of how I was just as a person, where I just felt like, we needed to be not necessarily in these like these structured learning environments that, everything that we do, we're learning, and we're masters of our own craft, and everything that we do, even if we're not formally educated in it, does not mean that you're not a master, you're not a doctorate or whatever. So like Goddard was kind of like that space to kind of strip down the formal structures and have you learning in a more organic kind of a way that you had a lot of control of. So I bring a lot of that knowledge into the group and how it's structured. So people come in sometimes and they think it's a fucking joke, and it's like, this isn't a joke. This isn't like, you've got to put in your sweat equity. If you take on a task, you actually have to finish it. So yeah, people come in, and this, brings it back to like, I don't think people take me seriously sometimes, because, we get a lot of members that have come and they have gone, but like either they're not taking it seriously to really follow through, or they're expecting it to be the most perfect space. And it's like, this is actually a grassroots space, and we're not a formal environment. We're not like a white collar workspace where we have like these stringent rules. We are pulling from different like ancestral knowledges and different backgrounds in civil rights activism and human rights activism coming out of the Black experience. And sometimes people don't read that. I can complain about all the challenges for a very long time. There's a lot to say.
But
I will say those
I
are the
think
top.
expresses the word, like you are, and you're letting us know, like these are these are the terms. This is what happens if you're coming into this space. Be aware of it. Tread with caution. Know your
Wow.
know what a little bit of what
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah. Yeah. People, I don't know. Sometimes I think they come in wanting it to be something and then it's not. And sometimes, and that, I've had a lot of discussions with people before, like people that I confide in. Like, I don't really think people like this thing that they ask for, which is a more loose space that they
Mhm.
can create and be in. I think I think our community confuses being a militant and an overseer with strength. And they have an issue seeing softness and seeing openness
Yeah.
as strength and something that they should aspire to and should try to reach for. And it's wreaked havoc on my existence in this community. So yeah,
There's been a couple of
in
ways
terms of
that
that.
we've came together over this last year. I've did some things with the Black Sex Worker Collective, with
Yeah.
Strippers United in the long past, virtual shows. I think we did a fundraiser, stuff like that. But this year, I believe this year, the Villainous conference, was that this year or late last year?
Well, we're still under the villainous theme. That's our theme for this year. It's all about embracing the villainous side of you and being prepared and
For
whatnot.
me, you had a post on social media, a personal post of yours, and you said, "Get your boots on. It's time to go. Let's go get this money." Like, enter an era in which where you're doing your best, and nothing can stop you from doing your best. Like, put the heels on, put the boots on. Let's go to work. Let's make it happen. And normally, I am like a very soft. Like, I approach everything's very, very soft because life has already been hard enough. And when you did that, it reminded me of like, no, there's a balance to
Yeah.
this. Let me be and others, I hope others can, maybe soften it a
Yeah.
little bit or maintain their villainous, whatever they would like to do. Can you tell us a little bit about that conference?
Yeah.
Like, it was multiple days, plenty of people participated. Give the people a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, so plenty of people did not participate. And when I say not, I'm talking about the community, which till this day pisses me off. So I'm not even going to sit here and be like, oh my God, like so many people showed up. No, the fuck, they did not. And what a shame because it was so many amazing presentations. So many amazing presentations from academics to community members to health professionals to people that were teaching about self-defense and using plant as medicine, some of the in-person sessions. And unfortunately, the community didn't show up. So I don't know if it was an algorithm thing or what in the world was going on, but unfortunately, so many people missed out on the live events. Wow. It's still available on our website if folks want to donate and be able to. There's an Eventbrite still up where people can buy and have access to a lot of the recorded sessions. That's moving very slowly, but whatever. I find out with the things that I do. People take a long time to catch on, so folks will catch on eventually. So I'm just like, well, whatever.
Sounds like you're a trendsetter.
But I am.
Some people
I gotta say, I am the trendsetter, and I can see the future. So it's like you can catch up. I'll be out there doing something by the time you decide that you want to take this seriously. So it's fine. Unfortunately, a lot of the community did not show up, but whoever needed to be there, and it was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, the conference is there about trying to prepare ourselves for this obvious thing that we're in right now, which is a recession, which is pushing back against, the regime and this is the pendulum swing that has happened where, Black lives matter less, and we're putting people that have a history of being absolutely terrible business people, among other things, in positions of incredible power, a very incompetent people of the palm color that like couldn't light a candle to even the most uneducated, for lack of, I don't even want to say uneducated, not even to the most basic of community organizers. Let's put it like that. Like even to somebody who's just now coming. When I say basic, I mean like even a newbie could couldn't, like, they couldn't hold a candle to the newest baby community member in our, in our organizing spaces. So it was all about that. And how do we take care of each other, while we're arguing, because everybody's fighting right now. I got beef, how do we take care of each other in the event a fire happens or a storm happens? How do we prepare for that? Because we're living our lives like everything is hunky-dory, but really and truly all of us are on the brink of desperation. We're on the brink of living in these situations that we can't even imagine, the things that we're not really paying attention to, because we're in our, for lack of a better term, our first world bubble, and we're not recognizing what's happening to the rest of the people like us outside of this first world bubble. And I think we're so comfortable with the scraps that we are given that we kind of like are nestled in mediocrity and just being kind of just not really caring. And, what are we going to do about that? So the conference was all about that, how to preserve your history, because one of the main things that is really important to me as an advocate is that we preserve our history, because it's so very kind of, they're trying to rewrite it. There's revisionist history going on everywhere. And once upon a time, they did a whole revisionist history on, matriarchies and women being in positions of extreme power and adoration. And now we're in this patriarchal society. And then it is taking us generations to find out, oh my God, there were these books that were written where they're talking about the history of the snake and what that meant with feminism and all of these things. Yeah, because they rewrote the history and they're going to do it again. And we're not really preparing to kind of make sure that once they do their thing and they, the powers that be, they wipe out all the libraries and all those things, that we can still have our underground archives of some sort, whatever. So the conference was all about that, like just being prepared and understanding what is happening. And yeah, a lot of people missed out, but it's still online. It'll be online for as long as we can have it there, so you can go see it.
So let's do that. Like, let's just encourage everybody right here, right now. After you're finished listening to this podcast, you're done watching, I want you to head over to the Eventbrite. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a link somewhere. They need to check it out. It was 3 days of pure magic. I really wanted to be there in person.
It was actually a really good conference.
The resources and tools that the community really, really need, and it was a very inviting space. So if you didn't catch it earlier this year, then look at that Eventbrite, check it out. It's literally giving you tools and knowledge on how to kind of maintain and handle. So please do that. Please, please, please. And I really hope that, are we talking about having another conference same time next year?
Yeah, we actually should be. If we're going to plan it, actually, the planning has to start now. I just don't want to be the one running it. So there is another community member that wants to do it. And I'm like, as long as you run it, because I'm not doing it. If not, I agree with like everybody. Like, we're about to have our open meetings. So anybody really and truly that's a part of the collective, they want to do it, just run the conference. I would have to run everything.
I hear you on that. I hear yeah, it was like somebody said, I hear you. I truly do. It's like, take it. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Well, whoever is doing it, please invite me again. I would love to participate. Yeah, I would love to participate. Just like you did, like I did. So I wish I had another hour in the day. I really
I know.
I really wish I had a little bit more time between being a mom full time and then also over, I think it's 3 different organizations right now. It's a lot, but I would love to, if I need to help in order to make it happen, put my name down.
Yeah,
Like, for sure. You know what I mean?
you got
It
it.
doesn't all be on you. It benefits me. It benefits the community. That means I'm in it. So, if I do need to be tapped in, whether it be you or whoever else is running it next time around, tap me. I am here to be of service. Okay? So, yeah.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
I love Bee's Knees knee pads. I've used other brands in the past, so I definitely can compare. Bee's Knees they last longer, and they come with replaceable slip-ins, so you can make these knee pads last for like at least a couple of years. I've had mine for several years. I can't even count how many years I've had them now. The best part is that they're being made in the United States, and they have since their inception, which means there's no tariffs, there's no inflated cost. These knees have been saving my 45-year-old knees. I feel like I'm crawling around on clouds basically when I use them. So I think they're the greatest knee pads on the market currently. To purchase a pair of Bee's Knees knee pads, you can visit yasstore.shop and search Bee's Knees, or you can click the link in our description down below.
You have an environmental performance piece coming up. Can you share a little?
Yeah, that's why I'm in this makeup.
Oh.
So I have so there's a show I've been working on something from 3 years ago. It came to me after visiting West Africa and just being like shocked. And then I was listening to I Didn't Mean to Turn You On, and that because I think when I went to West Africa, I was like, I kind of want to talk about this in some art. And then the Sherelle song, I Didn't Mean to Turn You On, came on, and I was like, there you go. Now I'm gonna do a show about this. So, okay, I'm in trouble for this because I was telling this to the wrong audience that just was whorephobic. And whorephobia, when you open up a space saying that you're a whore, I don't think people realize what happens to them unconsciously, right? So I got in a little bit of trouble for talking about my experience in West Africa when I went, because a few years ago I went to, I think I did Ghana, Senegal, and Guinea.
Nice.
And I'm a world traveler, and I'm also like a little ignorant American ass. So I go on these trips, and I didn't really do any research. And I'm like, how bad can it be? Like, whatever. So I went. So we grew up in America, right? And in America, they have these terrible imagery of Africa on the TV. We've all grown up seeing this bullshit,
Complete
right?
utter bullshit.
But in the state, complete bullshit. Complete. You see the We Are the World growing up, and they showing the starving kids. But in the circles I was in, for whatever reason, they were like, this is fucking bullshit. That is not what it looks like down there, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna expect Wakanda. Like, seriously, this is my ignorant ass. Like, as old as I am. I was like, choose some dumb shit. As old as I am, I'm like, yes. And I go, and I'm like, this is what the colonizers did to these countries? Like, I was appalled with the condition, with the way parts of the countries were in. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, are you this is what these fucking people, like, you hear about it. You hear what colonization did, but then it doesn't sink in till you see it. And I'm like, oh my God, people don't have light? You mean to tell me the light's going out? You mean to tell me there isn't any running water? And I was born in Jamaica. I'm a naturalized American citizen, so I understand this as well, because when I went back to Jamaica, I started going back home maybe 10 years ago. I haven't been back in 10 years. So like 10 years ago, I was going pretty regularly. And when I was going, I was also shocked, like the place that I grew up in. I was like, how is this the exact same when I left 20 years ago? Like this is unreal to me. Like, this is in the neighborhood that I grew up in. So like, still no regular running water, still no light, still a struggle, like, and Jamaica's not a third world country per se, because it's one of the more developed countries in the Caribbean. But I was so stunned. I was like, yo, what the hell is this? So like now, I'm processing this shit, and I'm like, okay, I want to do a show where I talk about what is happening in the global South. But then I did this show, I think sometime last year or something, where I spoke about it because I had a really bad experience, which is way too long to tell here, with some people, with some other Americans who really were like pack mentality, like ganging up on me in the space that we were in. So anyway, I decided, I'm telling this story about it, which was really about how far I've come from being this young person that grew up very poor. I grew up with fucking no lights. I grew up in where we had to use kerosene lamp. and I moved to America during a crack, epidemic. So like, I understand poor. I grew up with roaches in the cereal. Like I grew up poor, and
Right there with you.
yeah. So like Brooklyn, I grew up in Brooklyn, was not cool to live in. You know what I mean? And like, it was just a problem. And so like, I came from that to coming to a point where I was able to pull myself out of a really dangerous situation. And that was really the story about, about whatever. So anyway, I got in trouble because people didn't sit around to listen to the story. So I say all that to say, so instead of it just being about what is going on in the global South, now I'm having more conversation about America, because I'm like, okay, this is true. It's not just what's happening in Africa and what's happening in the Caribbean that is a problem. America also has a lot of these environmental problems. So the show is about the intersection of the environment and sex work, because sex workers are involved in every aspect of the world, regardless of what people think. And it's going to be about stories about the environment and about just how sex work is intertwined into that, and how the community really has the tools to combat the environmental racism and the environmental sexism and all of these issues that we're having with our environment from, different elements, water, the textile industry, fire, all of these different elements. If people would just listen to us. So I didn't mean to turn you on. This is how the intersections of the environment and sex work, and is talking about just the different environmental collapses that are happening globally, in Africa, in the Caribbean, in the Americas, and any place else that comes up, because I'm still writing the show. And the show premieres next week in Berlin, next Friday, September 12th, for Tanznacht dance night in Berlin. So it's a 90-minute show that is part exhibition and part like one woman show plus dance.
That's fantastic.
With so long.
Do you know, that was wonderful. Do you have a way for us to participate that aren't in Berlin, perhaps? Like, is there a virtual component, or do we just got to wait until you like release it on, I don't know. How can I see it?
Actually, the performances you're probably going to miss, but the exhibition part, I'm more likely going to put it up on the website on Akynos.com. So folks will be able to view pieces of that exhibition online, but the live performances, you probably have to be in person, because they're not gonna, I imagine it's not gonna stay the same. And I'm only kind of discussing 3 elements in this show, and it's a show that can go on and on and on.
I love it. I will be looking on the website to get the little clips that I can. And you're the only reason why I would like to come to Berlin. You are the only reason that I'd like to come to Berlin. So one day maybe I'll actually.
Well, we have a space now. BSWC just had it. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a nice segue. So actually down the street from Ufer Studios, where the dance night is going to take place, is our new space that I signed a lease on Monday. So for the people that come into Berlin, or if you live in Berlin, or if you live in Germany, or if you wherever, it doesn't matter. If you're coming into town and you're like, where's home? The Berlin branch has a space that is community center / cafe / whatever we want it to be, because it's run by hoes, and it's called the Ashawo Cafe, which is the Ghanaian way of saying sex worker.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay. So I go to Berlin. I'm going to hit up the shop. I'm going to drink some coffee. I'm going to network. I'm going to just be in the city with everyone right there. Maybe pick up some merch. Okay. So that's even more of a, that's even more of a reason.
Yeah. You pick up merch. You even have food. Because I also have my food project, the Jamaican. So we probably more than likely will always have food. Anywhere I am, there's gonna be food. So
I love that.
There's no way you're gonna have Erica. Well, Penis is having an event and there's no food. There's food. There will always be food where you see me. So yeah, that's for Berlin.
The belly and the mind, and honest, I would say the heart, because I feel you in my heart. And like earlier, you said people don't take you seriously. I think you're a very serious person. Like, very serious.
That's one of the no one ever said that to me. But I think people
No.
just take me as a joke, and I'm like, I literally do everything I say I'm gonna do. So like, I don't know why people
You have
think
no
it's a
word.
joke. It's like if I say, "Oh,
Like, you're
don't
not there,
do
Joe.
it."
Your word is bond. Like, honestly, like, yeah, haters can hate all they want, but that's because that they're unaware, and that's okay. People will catch up. People will catch up. That's just what it is. Seriously.
Yeah.
The BSW has a library.
Yeah, we've got a library project that I've been trying to get off the ground for several years. I've applied for some grants both in the US and Europe that have not been successful or whatever. You just keep going. But yeah, again, back to archiving. So the archiving thing has been something that's been on my mind for a while because especially Black sex workers, we get wiped out of everything, and then we don't realize how involved sex workers or Black sex workers are just in our communities overall, and I want to make sure that even if it's 20 years down the line, people respect sex workers, particularly Black sex workers, because there's this world of knowledge that I hope to build online where it doesn't matter how small the mention is of a Black sex worker in the text or anything that people can find. They have a space that they can go and just so we can see just how deeply embedded we are into just society, and to just try to find a way to preserve our sex worker culture and not have that wiped out by this fucking hoity-toity self-righteous people who act like people who might have sex all encompassing, whatever that is to people. Like people that do this are not somehow valuable or involved. So yeah. So we have a library which AM Davies from YAS Work is working on the back end to develop like the structure, and we just received some grant from I think Archive It to be able to store the our archives, whatever that we have. But I can't remember exactly because I'm actually not the person handling it. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying to build it, and hopefully we get some more money and we can get a librarian and hire a librarian in the US, hopefully, and they can start archiving our stuff.
Okay. Well, so wait a minute. So if I wanted to make sure that if I feel like I've contributed to some things, but I also feel like nobody really knows. So would I be able to upload my own information?
Yeah.
Kind of like, well, these are the things that I've done. Maybe
Yeah.
you guys want to know. That's great.
We definitely want it. Whatever you have done, if you identify as a Black sex worker, you send us the info, and it somehow, I don't know how we're going to do it because it's really a lot of work, and it's not something that I don't feel comfortable asking someone to do for free. I mean, yeah, but we would like to compensate someone, but it's going to be a lot of work to put that stuff in there so it's organized in a way. But yeah, anyone, I think there's a forum you can go in, fill it out, and then we're able to like put it up on the site. So we've got to figure out a way that folks can like search the database and what they're looking for. So, but yeah, anyone, put it there.
Sounds like a long-term project. It sounds like something
It's a long
while. So it's going to take some time, but that's going to be amazing to see come to life. Like it's one of the things that's neat this right now. So, again, trendsetter.
Trying.
I mean, you're not trying. You're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you for recognizing my efforts.
Gang recognizes gang, and it's real. The hustle, like, yeah, that part. Okay, so there's something else. There's something else that's listed, and I'm not sure exactly, but let's just say, can we talk about public versus private conflict and which one you prefer to practice?
I prefer to just block people. I don't have time. I'm fucking busy. People are so stupid. I think up until I don't know when I kind of calmed down from being more public about dragging people, but I guess you just get exhausted because especially if there are people that come that like look differently from you, nothing's really going to happen. They might have a little minor inconvenience, but people are going to still work with them. They're going to still ignore you. You're labeled the bad guy, and who the hell has the time for that? So once upon a time, I was definitely about the public dragging, but now I'm more like, oh, you're dumb, walk. I don't even want to engage with you. So I guess I'm more engaged with the private situation now. I'm just like, I'm not doing the labor of telling people anything because no, you're not gonna listen to me anyway. You already, I already think there's a weird perception of me out there anyway. Maybe it's my own, whatever I feel about myself. I can't find the word right now. Maybe I have low self-esteem. I don't know. But I just think like, no one's gonna listen. So I might as well, I'll quietly block. And if something comes up and someone asks me, I'll tell them and they can do whatever they want with that information.
I
So
I
private.
dig that. I dig that because there has been you have laid it out on social media before.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
It's all like it's
Oh yeah. I used to do that a lot.
It's very in your face. So to hear you say like, I don't want anything to disrupt my own spirit, and to see that I don't want to say evolution, let's just say change within you, like I think that's dope.
Well, I'm old, so
I mean,
woman now, so I'm like, oh
I
God.
don't want to age myself.
I'm tired. I have too much to do. I'm kind of holding. Yeah, as you get older, like I'm holding the weight of too much. I can't also hold that. So it's like,
Yeah.
bye, girl. If somebody asks me, I'll tell them, and they can believe me and do whatever they want. And they don't want to do anything, then don't. But you'll be crying to me later.
And hopefully you'll still be there, open arms, like, come, you're welcome. Nope.
No,
You
No.
fucked up. It's okay.
no. Sorry. I told you, bitch. I told you. You didn't listen. What do you want me to do? I got other things to do now. I moved
I get it.
on Diana. Oh, I'm so sorry you experienced that. I'm like, okay, girl. I told you. Have a good one.
I'm I get it. Protection of peace is where it's at. Protection of peace is where it's at. It's like serious. Earlier this year, I participated again with the Black Sex Worker Collective on a UN report. And we answered a bunch of questions in terms of like sex work. I think it was about trans people in sex work, police brutality, and how police approach us while we're working as sex workers. I wanted to know what was the feedback from the UN. Like, did they read it and they said what? Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
I don't think that happened yet. I think that actually is happening like maybe in November. So the Universal Periodic Review is something that, these member states are up for review every so often. And this year it was the United States. We're still, just for the record, people, sure, the Berlin has a space, but also the U.S. branch still exists because we still have people in the U.S. We still have groups. We still have reps in the U.S. We just don't have a home base like right now, but we're still there. So like we actually don't run that thing. It's usually Best Practices Policy Project that takes on that and pretty much creates things with other advocates, activists, and we all like put in our input. Best Practices Policy Project typically puts that stuff together and sends the stuff up. But I don't think the responses have happened yet. I think there's another layer to it that, if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be like a meeting in November.
The main thing is that the work is the information is getting out and it's getting in front of people. And if they're not receptive to it this time around, hopefully Best Policy Project, your organization, community members like myself, we can be around next time to force it down their throat again. Like continuously letting people know that we are not going anywhere is where it's at. And I feel like you exemplify that on a major level. And I really appreciate you being here today. If there's anything you want to plug, shout out, websites, all the good jazz, could you share it for the people?
What do I want to plug? Oh my God. Well, go to the BSWC.org, find out what we're up to there. I don't always get a chance to do like the updates like I want to because I'm managing way too much. That's just the reality of this. In grassroots organizing, we're not really getting salaries. And especially now with these funding cuts that's happening, we're even lucky to even still be standing. A lot of groups have closed, but we're still there, hanging on by a thread. And just if you go to the website, you can sign up to the mailing list. And when I do send it out, whenever I have the energy to, I will send it out. And you'll see all the things that we're doing, both on the European side as well as, on the Africa side, as well as on the US side. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are coming up that are happening that I can only put on the mailing list because I cannot remember right now. But we spoke about some of it here. And I hope people are paying attention. And yeah, I wish we had a little bit more time to chit chat because it kind of keeps me from feeling the discomfort I've been feeling in terms of being sick. Like as I'm engaging with people, I guess my adrenaline is going, so I can't really feel what's happening to my body. But once we stop talking, it comes back, and then I got to figure out what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So anyway, folks could just keep donating, keep sharing. I just wish people would interact more with stuff, but I don't know if it's because the algorithms or whatever. But stay in touch because one of the main things that we have to try to start implementing almost immediately is going back to the basics of how we communicate with people. So it's like time to get those addresses again because, we think the internet's going to be here forever and at any given moment they can take it from us. And we have to be prepared for that. So one of the next things that we have to start doing is like having physical addresses to be able to send people things out in physical form again, So donate a little bit of money here and there, interact with things that's like more important. And, last thing I want to say before we clock off is that it's really great to give sex workers your money, but it's kind of pointless if you're giving us your money and you're also not engaging with the stuff that we are doing. It's equally important, to listen to us and engage with the stuff that we are doing on a real level, like, something that's really tangible, show up and stand in solidarity.
And usually we're ahead of the curve.
Or you'll just regret it later.
Usually we're ahead of the curve.
Always. You're going to regret it if you don't do it.
They always do. And usually whatever is happening to us that's bad eventually happens to everyone else. So we're
all the
sounding
time.
the alarm.
Yeah, no
Pay
one
the fuck
listen.
attention.
They should pay attention. Pay attention.
They will.
But you can only pay attention
Pay
if you're in the
attention.
room with
Connect.
us. Yeah, you got to connect. You can't just throw us money and be like, okay, because it's almost kind of insulting. It's like, oh, here's $25. Let them go do that thing. Then you're not paying attention. And then, then people can co-opt our entire movement and you'll send them millions of dollars, but you're not giving us anything. And then these spaces close. And anyway, the cycle is just going to keep repeating. So we all have a choice to make.
There we go. We're going to leave it right there. We all have a choice to make. And I hope everyone makes the choice to connect with you, listen to what you're saying, support sex work. And I think I need to bleep that out right now, but the Black Sex Worker Collective is where it's at. Engage, connect, donate, follow along. Sex work is work.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We shall see each other soon.
YAS Podcast is produced by YAS Work, which is a nonprofit dedicated to educating and entertaining audiences about sex work through media. Learn more about how you can get involved in the podcast and our organization by visiting yaswork.org. That's YASWORK.org.